But first, and I'm so glad you're with us today, let's talk about our beloved president. Show some respect. He's in a bit of a tough situation right now since he ran on fixing the economy. And fixing the economy is very complicated. It's very tricky. You need professionals. But Trump is one of those guys who's like, I can do it. I know what I'm doing. He watched a YouTube video and he opened up the hood and he was like, oh, it's the wire from the carburetor. And it's on fire. And then his wife comes out and is like, I told you to call somebody. And then he's like, you don't believe in me. End scene. Now you see why I'm not in many movies. The point being, yesterday, Trump sat down for an interview with NBC's Meet the Press host, Kristen Welker, and the challenge was clear. The president had to find a way to persuasively take credit for the remaining good parts of the economy while subtly assigning blame to Joe Biden for the bad on fire parts. Let's see how Trump threaded this rhetorical needle.
I think the good parts are the Trump economy and the bad parts are the Biden economy.
Nailed it. He went right at it. No attempt at persuasion or allegory or metaphor. Trump, good, Biden, bad. He's a regular Shakespeare. Maybe Shakespeare would have been better off with the Trump approach. Act 1, Scene 1, Romeo and Juliet. Hey, Juliet, it's Romeo. Let's and then kill ourselves. And scene. I want to thank my family. Look, I'm trying very hard in this new Trump flood the zone media ecosystem strategy to not get too high or low, to not take the bait, to find things in my life that give me pleasure or peace. For instance, a quick story. I have a niece, 11 years old, loves dolls. I was going to get her 20 or 30 of them for her birthday, just to see the joy of a child. You can't put a price tag on that. It gives me great solace. Anyway, like I said, I'm not trying to take these interviews personally.
I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have 30 dolls.
First of all, I don't think we consider 11-year-olds baby girls. Second of all, you don't know what she needs. She's been through a lot this year. How many dolls would you get her? What is the appropriate number of dolls to get a beautiful baby 11-year-old girl, Mr. President?
I think they can have 3 dolls or 4 dolls.
It's just not that many dolls. I mean, okay, sure, she could have a small tea party with the dolls, but her dream had been a quasi-realistic conclave reenactment with dolls. That's what she wanted. But fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just tell her the President of the United States said no. You know what? Doesn't matter. Dolls are not her only happy place anyway. She also loves taking standardized tests. No, it's true. Very erudite. So I was thinking of getting her this wonderful Baby's First SAT kit. It has all the Scantron sheets and around 250 number 2 pencils. She's gonna go crazy. She is gonna love it.
They don't need to have 250 pencils. They can have 5.
Motherfucker! How dare you! What kind of a man would deny this poor girl her full complement of pencils for her dream standardized testing toy kit? Is that man A, Ebenezer Scrooge, B, the Grinch, C, an evil step monster, or D, all of the above? Oh, that's right, she can't answer because she's already used her entire pencil quota. I have to say, like, when Trump is talking about what people should do and gets like dolls and pencils, Trump has such a Depression-era view of what kids play with in 2025. Kids don't need 20 sets of those hoops you hit with a stick as you go down the street. Just one hoop is Jim Dandy. But look, to be fair to Donald Trump, his austerity pitch to the American people is in line with the modest way in which Trump conducts his life. Trump has a monastic view of simple living that says, hey, what if Saddam Hussein's palace had a view of Central Park?
We're standing in my apartment at Trump Tower. Some people consider it to be the greatest apartment in the world.
And some people think it's what would look like inside Marie Antoinette's vagina. It was notoriously well appointed. Look, I do want to hand it to Trump. If you notice, a very sparing use of pencils and dolls. He does walk the walk. But look, here's the truth. If a Democrat had even hinted at toy rationing for American children, we'd have a full week of Fox special reports on the sobbing children of socialist America and a boom in gun-toting patriots going, you can have my G.I. Joe when you pry it from a kung fu grip. But at least we're finally getting to address, in a substantive manner, Trump's chaotic stewardship of what was the world's most stable economy, and how Americans are going to have to sacrifice financially and tamp down their consumerist impulse. And that is what has driven so much of our economy and I guess our waste. And I'm sure the president will use this interview with Welker to cheerlead the effort to a more financially responsible future for all of us.
We're going to have a big, beautiful parade.
A military parade?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
We're going to celebrate our military. We have the greatest military in the world.
What's the price tag? Do you know?
People, peanuts compared to the value of doing it.
We can't afford not to do it. Why don't you believe in me? If you hadn't spent so much on dolls and pencils, we wouldn't even be talking about this. And see. But this is the brilliance of Trump. In the same interview where he says to Americans, sorry about your Christmas, suck it up, he talks about a $90 million parade that just so happens to fall on his birthday and is totally worth it.
We have the greatest missiles in the world. We have the greatest submarines in the world. We have the greatest army tanks in the world. We have the greatest weapons in the world. And we're going to celebrate it.
I don't know, Mr. President, if you know how submarines work. But dragging them down Pennsylvania Avenue will most likely void the warranty. But this is why it's so hard to pin Trump down on everything. Because to get to substantive policy questions, you have to face down the fire hose of his nonsense and bullshit that moves you off track. His frenetic nature that means we all end up suffering from a kind of secondhand ADHD, a viral cloud of his unfocused weaving that gives all of us brain fog. Well, no more. Hi, sharks. When I saw the President of the United States starting out on tariffs and ending up on dolls and parades and pencils, I thought, there's got to be a better way. to help Americans figure out which of the things it's okay to get upset about and which things are just him f***ing off. So I invented this chart. Let me show you how it works. First, we take something the president said.
Donald Trump says that he is directing the Bureau of Prisons to reopen Alcatraz.
And then we figure out, is that okay? Sure. It's okay. It's the kind of thing that's okay to just let go. It's just a stupid thing to keep us occupied, to lose focus on his actual policies. It's okay not to take the bait, to not get sucked into. But why would you want to reopen Alcatraz? What the is that? Why would you want to do that?
The president says he wants to use the island to, quote, house America's most ruthless and violent offenders. In this notorious federal prison, it closed in 1963 because it was too expensive to run and repair. It's now been a museum.
What, did Trump think we're low on prisons? What do you... Although I guess any opportunity for Trump to open a prison and simultaneously close a museum is too good to pass up. But it'll take hundreds of millions of dollars, or I don't know how many dollars and pencils, but it's a lot. Does Doge know about this? Does Alcatraz?
Alcatraz officials did not immediately respond to a request for comment.
Because they run a museum. They're a museum. They're not... That's what they're not like tough talking wardens, they're docents with art history degrees. The only person working there is busy fixing those machines that flatten pennies. That's the only person that works there. And here's the crazy part about Trump. He throws out these crazy ideas, and then those crazy ideas have days of shelf life. This is a press conference today announcing a partnership with the NFL draft. But now the NFL guys have to just sit there and nod through all this Alcatraz nonsense.
Our country needs law and order. Alcatraz is, I would say, the ultimate, right? Alcatraz, Sing Sing and Alcatraz, the movies. Nobody's ever escaped from Alcatraz, and just represented something. One person almost got there, but they, as you know the story, they found his clothing. A lot of shark bites, a lot of problems. Right now it's a big hulk that's sitting there rusting and rotting. It sort of represents something that's both horrible and beautiful and strong and miserable, weak. Got a lot of qualities that are interesting, and I think they make a point.
What point? There is no point. That's not... It's fine. I'm sorry. The chart was supposed to prevent this kind of over-emotional digression. This one's on me. I am not leading a chart-based life right now. I apologize. I can do better. Let's go again. And judge whether or not this is an important pronouncement or a brain-fogging digression.
President Trump shared an AI-generated image of himself depicted as the Pope on social media yesterday.
It's okay. It's okay. It's just okay. It's fine. It's not the most presidential thing, but Trump and the Pope do share the same taste in interior design, so it's not the worst fit. And it's just a troll. It's not hurting anybody. I mean, Trump wasn't going to heaven anyway, so it's not like it's gonna... I'm not gonna get distracted by it. But he can't really be the Pope, can he? Can he be the Pope?
The last time a non-cardinal was Pope was back in 1378, when the Italian Archbishop Bartolomeo Prignano, who had been a monk, was controversially chosen from outside of the College of Cardinals, and he became Pope Urban VI. So, will Donald Trump follow in the 647-year-old footsteps of Bartolomeo Prignano? No, he won't.
You see what you're doing to people, Trump? MSNBC's got to waste valuable airtime fact-checking your f***ing nonsense. Time they could have spent frowning, sighing, and rolling their eyes. Is there anything during this chaotic news cycle that maybe we should keep our eyes on?
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know.
Holy shit, that's not okay. But by the way, I don't know? That wasn't a gotcha question. Should the president uphold the Constitution? On Millionaire, that'd be the warm-up question, like, what color is an orange? Or name a planet with people on it. I mean, if you can't answer that the president's supposed to uphold the Constitution, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't even let you become a citizen. And before you might say, well, but they never told me I was supposed to. Let me refer you back to a cold day in January.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
Were you even awake? Preserve, protect, and defend, i.e. uphold. It's not optional. It is not an opportunity for you to lawyer shop loopholes to our nation's founding document. You took an oath in front of God and those who are fighting against God. But the important thing is this. Here's the problem. The volatility of nonsense, from consequential to truly disorienting, is unfathomable. While we're chasing Pope and Alcatraz stories, the Trump administration has gutted funding for America's food banks. They've hollowed out the FAA to the point where Newark Airport is basically inoperable and not in its usual way. And then there's this.
Health and Human Services Secretary RFK Jr. laid off nearly all workers at the National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health.
The program offers monitoring and treatment for first responders and survivors diagnosed with 9/11 related health conditions.
I agree. Do you know how bad you have to be to make the lives of sick 9/11 responders worse? The Trump administration is now number 2 on the 9/11 evil power rankings. Al-Qaeda's still number 1, but you're closing the gap. And trust me, there is nothing that you can do to distract me from making sure that those folks are going to get what they've earned from the government.
The White House posting this AI image of a buff Jedi Trump to mark Star Wars Day on May 4th while touting his immigration crackdown.
Here's the thing. I know I'm not supposed to get distracted, but he's not a Jedi in that picture. Do you understand? Trump is presenting himself as a Jedi, but his lightsaber is red. And the only way you can have a red lightsaber is by infusing its kyber crystal with the power of your rage and hate, thereby corrupting it into a vessel for the dark side. Therefore, every one of those photos that Trump is putting out there, he is admitting he's not a Jedi, but in fact, a Sith Lord. And there are always 2. So the question is this. Who is he working with? And why do I know all this? Well, I happen to have an extensive collection of Star Wars action figures, 30 to 37 of them, actually. Some call them dolls. I call them friends.
Things off with the big meeting at the White House. Donald Trump has been obsessed with making Canada the 51st state ever since he found out Epstein Island was not eligible. Well, today, Canada's new prime minister came to the White House, which gave Donald Trump an opportunity to make his proposal in person. Come on, Donald, use that Trump charm to put a ring on it.
It would really be a wonderful marriage because it's 2 places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Aww. It's like watching an episode of Love on the Spectrum. If the spectrum was fascism. Prime Minister Carney, what do you say?
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale. And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign, last several months. It's not for sale, won't be for sale ever.
I think Donald Trump just got friend-zoned. Canada's like, you have been such an amazing ally, but I really think we just work better as sovereign neighbors. Besides, I already have a girlfriend. You've never met her because she lives up in Canada. Oh, that excuse doesn't work. But this was a clear rejection from Canada. I'm sure Trump will handle this maturely and not like a thirsty little bitch.
When you consider what Mr. Carney just said, that Canada is not for sale, does this make the discussion a little more difficult to start on?
No, not at all. No, not at all. No, time will tell. It's only time. But I say, never say never. You know, Canada loves us and we love Canada.
Canada is not going to you. Not gonna happen. God, this is why you don't date someone who lives on the same continent as you. Awkward. But let's move on to some travel news. Summer is just around the corner, so it's time to make sure that you have everything you need for vacation. Sunscreen, a good book, a convincing story to make it look like a kayaking accident, and of course, your new ID card.
Starting tomorrow, the TSA will require anyone 18 or older to have a Real ID, which is basically a security-enhanced license.
Real ID is an effort from the federal government to make state-issued identification cards and driver's license more accurate, more reliable, and more secure.
They have a gold star, California Bear, or say enhanced in Washington state.
Oh, that's cute. Some have a gold star. California has a bear. New York has a guy jacking off on the subway. It's not funny. It's our state bird. But aside from that, the Real ID is not that different from a regular ID. It just has some enhanced security features that verify your identity as a little goody two-shoes that does whatever the government says. Nerds! Of course, the thing is, you have to go to the DMV to get one. And if you're like, oh my God, I got to get to the DMV, you're not the only one.
This morning at DMVs across the country, the Real ID rush is on, with lines stretching on for blocks. We found people waiting outside this Chicago location for up to 4 hours.
I'm going to go online on Thursday morning at 5 in the morning and hopefully get an appointment, I hope.
They should put a chip in me. Like, give me a chip and just scan me.
Teacher Rhiannon Mendez got so frustrated she went on social media to complain about her experience in New Jersey.
You actually took to TikTok to describe what you were dealing with.
Yes.
Wait, you're telling me that a white lady got so frustrated by poor service that she got out of her enormous car to complain on social media? When has that ever happened before, except all the time, constantly, everywhere? That is my entire TikTok feed, just white women complaining and sciatica stretches. Now, keep in mind, these are just the people who know about the deadline. Wait until everybody starts showing up at the airport with no idea that they don't have the right ID. People are going to flip the out. There are going to be Karens filming rants on their phones with other Karens in the background filming rants on their phones. Just an infinite tunnel of Karens. They're going to have to... to call in the Karen National Guard. But can you blame them? I mean, they've hardly had any time to prepare for this.
Congress passed the Real ID Act in 2005, 4 years after the attacks on September 11th. Enforcement was originally set to start in 2008, but Congress has extended that deadline at least 5 times.
Yeah, just a short 23 years after 9/11. This just shows you how fast we solve problems here in America. Remember when China built a hospital in like a week? I'm not saying I want to live in China, but I would say ni hao to a little more hustle here. But you know what? It might be a hassle to get the Real ID, but once you get to the airport, your dream vacation can begin.
Frustration and chaos at one of the busiest airports in the country. Close to 900 flights have been canceled into and out of Newark Liberty Airport just in the past week.
Newark Liberty International Airport yesterday and this morning was where dreams were crushed.
To be fair, that is Newark Airport's official slogan. But what's wrong with Newark Airport besides it being Newark Airport?
This morning, terrifying new developments at Newark's Liberty Airport. ABC News learning air traffic controllers lost radar and communications with planes packed with passengers for 60 to 90 seconds. Pilots can be heard learning of the outage over the radio.
No, you do not have a Bravo clearance. We lost our radar and it's not working correctly.
Okay, I'll wait for that frequency from you, okay?
Okay, no, we don't have a radar, so I don't know where you are.
I don't know where you are? That's a terrifying thing to hear. There's not a lot of backup systems. The pilot can't be like, okay, forget radar, let's try something else. Marco! And this incident didn't just affect what happened at the airport. Like a fart in business class, it permeated through the entire sky.
Dozens of flights were diverted to alternate airports. These 3 flights from California made it a third of the way across the country before turning back around.
Those planes look like they just walked in on their parents doing it. Oh, God. So it's chaos in control tower, it's chaos in the sky, and definitely chaos in the terminal.
Travel chaos at one of America's busiest airports, an 8th straight day of disruptions at Newark.
Now, as for having to wait upwards of 8 hours for baggage, experts say that the airlines simply just are not staffed with enough baggage handlers overnight to have dealt with what happened here.
People are at their wits' end. Actually, someone just walked by us and says, I'm going to kill somebody. They're so angry.
Well, unfortunately, the wait time to kill somebody is 3 hours. And I know they're talking like these people are losing their shit, but they are way more patient than I would be. Waiting 8 hours for a bag? I couldn't even wait 8 hours for my kid. After 5 hours, I would be like, he knows our address. Now, apparently this whole thing started with a spark from an old copper wire, but that's really just one part of a systemic problem. Crumbling infrastructure, staffing shortages, overworked employees. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, you gotta fix this. So where are you?
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says he too was stuck at Newark Airport.
God, you know what? He is so relatable. We get stuck at the airport. He gets stuck at the airport. We don't know how to run the Department of Transportation. He doesn't know how to run the Department of Transportation. But the Trump administration needs to fix this problem. And the way that they're going to do it is that they reallocate taxpayer funds and apply expertise to long-term infrastructure. It's not going to happen. They're just not going to do it. It's been a rough few weeks for Donald Trump, mostly because Donald Trump. So he's been looking for a way to change the narrative. And yesterday, he made a big announcement.
We're going to have a very, very big announcement to make, like as big as it gets. And I won't tell you on what.
So his announcement is that he's got an announcement? Cool. It's great to have a president who does teaser trailers for world events. It's like when FDR said, we only have one thing to fear, and I'll tell you what it is after the break. But okay, Donald, can you at least give us a hint?
It'll be one of the most important announcements that have been made in many years about a certain subject.
A certain subject. That narrows it down to literally anything. This is Donald Trump, so his big announcement could be anything from I've achieved peace in the Middle East to I just tried bucatini and I'm never going back to regular spaghetti. At least tell us if it's good or bad. Should I be stocking up on champagne or toilet paper?
It's very positive. I'd tell you if it was negative or positive. I can't keep that out. It is really, really positive.
Okay, that sounds really positive. But I want to temper my expectations here because the last time you had a positive announcement to make, it was that you were destroying the economy. So I just want to make sure. Is it really good news?
It's going to be a truly earth-shattering and positive development for this country and for the people of this country.
Earth-shattering. Wow. Okay, as long as I don't have to clean it up, I guess I'm in. Just tell me when exactly to tune in, and I will clear my schedule.
And that announcement will be made either Thursday or Friday or Monday before we leave.
announcing, do you? You're just going to go into the next room and be like, guys, I promised them something big. Does anyone have anything good? I have 2 to 5 days, and don't say Jell-O shots, Pete. Next time, just come out when you're ready to say the announcement. We don't need a pre-announcement. This is worse than my cousin announcing that they're trying for a 3rd child. Great, so you're telling me that you're f***ing a lot? Call me when there's a Gymboree registry. And by the way, it's totally possible that we never get an announcement. Remember him teasing his big replacement for Obamacare?
Wait till you see the plans we have coming out literally over the next 4 weeks. We have great health care plans coming out. The plan is coming out over the next 4 weeks.
We'll be announcing that in about 2 months.
And that 2 months was up 69 months ago. Very nice. But while we're waiting for Trump's earth-shattering, mind-blowing, orgasm-inducing announcement, there's already a much stupider announcement in the works.
We know we have the Gulf of America, formerly the Gulf of Mexico, and next week, President Trump plans to announce the U.S. will refer to the Persian Gulf as the Gulf of Arabia or the Arabian Gulf.
What is it with this guy and renaming gulfs? At least the Gulf of Mexico was on our border, but now he's just going around renaming other countries' water? The Gulf of Thailand is now the Gulf of White Lotus. The Indian Ocean is now the Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas Ocean. And the Black Sea, we're just getting rid of. No more DEI. Why shouldn't we be allowed to rename the world's oceans? After all, we have the world's most competent, powerful, competent Navy full of competence operating right now at the top of their competence.
For the second time in just over a week, U.S. fighter jet falling off an aircraft carrier and sinking in the Red Sea.
The $67 million F-18 Super Hornet crashed into the Red Sea last night and was lost. The pilots managed to eject safely. Just over a week ago, another Super Hornet fell from the same ship.
Not to get all doge over here, but I think we could save some money if we stopped dropping fighter jets into the Red Sea. At some point, we're giving more military aid to pufferfish than we are to Ukraine. Zelensky should just be following behind our aircraft carriers with a giant net. And I know this is all a little concerning, but don't worry. Pete Hegseth has ordered a top-to-bottom review to determine if there were any rainbow flags on board that might be to blame. And finally, an update on tariffs. They're the reason your MAGA family stopped talking about the economy. Just mine? Just my family? Ever since they kicked in, Trump has been telling Americans that they're going to have to tighten their belts a little. And there's one example in particular that he keeps fixating on.
Maybe the children will have $2 instead of $30, you know? I don't think a beautiful baby girl that's 11 years old needs to have $30. I think they can have $3 or $4.
15-year-old girl doesn't need $37.
You don't need to have, as I said, $35. You can have 2, 3, 4.
She can be very happy with 2 or 3 or 4 or 5.
Why do I feel like last week Trump walked in on Eric kissing a doll, and now he's like, sorry, America, we're banning dolls. Banning them. Either way, it turns out that the whole expensive doll example was not hypothetical.
Mattel, the company that makes Barbie dolls, is raising prices to offset President Trump's tariffs on Chinese imports.
Yes, they're raising prices on Barbie. Even she has to cut back. She had to move out of Barbie's dream house and into Barbie's dream studio apartment with 2 roommates. Her pink convertible is now a 2007 Toyota Tercel. It's very sad. Come on, don't make Barbie tighten her belt even more. She only has a 1-inch waist. And Trump's not the only one answering doll-based questions. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, seen here watching a bulldozer demolish a local community center, also had some thoughts. Secretary Bessent, what would you say to a sweet little girl who wonders why she can't have a new Barbie this year?
I would tell that young girl that you will have a better life than your parents, that you and your family, thanks to President Trump, can now be confident again that you will have a better life than your parents. You will be able to advance. You will have a good education. You will have economic freedom.
Yes, if there's one thing children love, it's the concept of economic freedom. It's very clear that you were never a little girl. They would never be on board with this. I don't want that stuff. I want Barbies. You can't make economic freedom scissor each other. What's the point? Also, kids today are going to have a better life than their parents. Honey, I had 25 Barbies plus the dream house. We knew how to live in this country back when I was a kid during the Obama years. Don't Google it. Now, if you've been waiting to hear back from the Vatican about that resume you sent in, bad news. The position has been filled.
And I think we see it. Sorry.
There we go. That certainly looks like smoke and white smoke.
Hold on, we have smoke, and it is white smoke.
There would appear to be a white smoke.
White smoke, we have a pope.
We are watching and everyone to breathe it in. The white smoke.
Breathe it in? I didn't know we were supposed to hotbox the Pope smoke. But white smoke means there's a new Pope, and wait till you get a load of where he came from.
History at the Vatican. The first ever American Pope.
Holy shit! We have the first American Pope, and let me just say, as an American, are you sure about this? We don't really have the gravitas that you associate with popiness. We're less somber procession and more monster truck rally. I just think it's a little bit weird that the holiest man in the world probably knows all the words to the Chili's baby back rib song. Kind of weird. In fact, I was trying to come up with a way to explain why the idea of an American Pope feels like such a contradiction, but I think the way the news broke here kind of sums it up.
What is going on here? Your son was sleeping with your fiance, and your fiance was sleeping with your son.
That is correct. When I found that out, I confronted Andrea.
This is a Fox News special report.
Go back to the gross love triangle. I love that stuff. But the votes are counted, and the Vatican doesn't have a January 6th, so there's no going back. Let's find out more about this American Pope. Excuse me, Pope Americano.
Born in 1955 in Chicago, Robert Francis Prevost has been a cardinal for only 2 years.
He's big into tennis. He's affectionately known as Father Bob.
A Cubs fan. He loves to cook.
Italian media has referred to him as the least American of the Americans because of his quiet, humble way.
Whoa. So you're telling me that you think all Americans are loudmouth jackasses? Well, f*** you. Humble. I'm the most humble bitch you've ever seen. But let's get back to the Pope. Of course, the first job of every new Pope is to pick a Pope name, which we all know is supposed to be the name of your first pet and the street you grew up on. But he went a different way.
Robert Francis Prevost of Chicago taking on the name of Pope Leo XIV.
Leo XIV? Did he choose it the way we pick a new email address? Desi.Lydic is taken? Okay, what about Desi.Lydic 2? Really? 3? Really? 4? Fine, Desi.Lydic 14. But yes, Robert Prevost's new name is Leo XIV, which sucks for him because he just got his real ID. Damn it. So close. Now, I've always found this odd. The church is so conservative on gay issues, but then they turn around and make its leader choose a drag name. And make it quick. We got to get you to your gown fitting. You're going to look so fierce. Woo! But after he picked his Pope name, he came out and gave his first speech in both Italian and Spanish about the need for unity and peace on earth. So cue peace and unity in 3, 2, 1.
I would have loved for the first Pope from America to say something in English.
I was a little surprised that a Chicago native did not say a few words in English.
He's talking Spanish. He's an American, and he didn't even speak in English.
He spoke in Latin, Spanish, and Italian, did not speak in English.
He did not speak in English. I mean, I don't know how you claim that this is an American Pope if he won't even speak in his native tongue. That to me was very disturbing.
Yes, yes. How dare you? If English was good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for the Pope. Shame. Shame on you. Come on, does it really matter what language he speaks? It's church. You're going to be sleeping through it anyway. And besides, there's going to be plenty of other stuff for conservatives to throw a tantrum about.
There's some tweets that when the Pope was still a cardinal that are getting a lot of attention online that are politically charged.
This one is directly rebuking J.D. Vance. The new Pope, Pope Leo XIV, said J.D. Vance is wrong.
The new Pope does not like J.D. Vance. He really is an everyday American. Be careful, though, Father. If you piss off J.D. Vance, he's going to pay you a visit.